Imagine being declared dead, only to wake up inside your coffin. Imagine a deadly fog that killed thousands of people in just a few days, or a treatment so horrifying that doctors drilled holes into people's skulls to cure mental illness. These sound like horror movie plots, but they're not fiction. They're real events from history that were once dismissed as myths, until evidence proved they actually happened. And some of them are far darker than anything people imagined. 1. The fear of being buried alive. In the 18th and 19th centuries, people were terrified of one thing: being buried alive. And unfortunately, that fear wasn't irrational. Medical science at the time was primitive. Doctors didn't always have reliable ways to confirm whether someone was truly dead. There were documented cases of people who appeared lifeless, only to wake up later. Some coffins were even found with scratch marks on the inside. Because of this fear, inventors created something called safety coffins. These coffins were equipped with bells, tubes, or flags connected to the person inside. If someone woke up underground, they could ring the bell above the grave. Caretakers were sometimes hired to watch graveyards at night, listening for bells. The idea sounds like something from a Gothic horror story. But safety coffins were real inventions, and hundreds were built across Europe and America, all because people feared waking up in the dark. 6 feet underground. 2. The deadly fog that killed thousands. In December 1952, the city of London was covered by a thick fog. At first, it didn't seem unusual. Fog was common in the city, but this fog was different. It was darker, thicker, and it carried a strange smell. Within hours, visibility dropped so low, people couldn't see their own feet. Cars stopped moving. Public transportation shut down. People could barely breathe. Hospitals started filling with patients suffering from severe breathing problems. But the real horror came days later. When the fog finally cleared, thousands of people were dead. The disaster became known as the Great Smog of London. Coal smoke, industrial pollution, and weather conditions had created a toxic cloud over the city. By the end of the event, over 12,000 people were believed to have died. It was one of the worst environmental disasters in modern history, and it happened in the middle of a major city. 3. The medical procedure that drilled into the brain. In the early 1900s, doctors believed they had discovered a miracle cure for severe mental illness. The procedure was called a lobotomy. The idea was simple. Doctors believed certain mental disorders were caused by problems in the brain's frontal lobes. So they decided to surgically destroy part of those areas. Some lobotomies were performed using a tool that looked like an ice pick. The instrument was inserted through the eye socket and pushed into the brain. Then the doctor would move it back and forth to sever connections. Thousands of patients underwent the procedure. Some showed reduced symptoms, but many others suffered devastating consequences. People lost their personalities, emotions, and ability to function normally. Eventually, the medical community realized how dangerous the procedure was. By the 1970s, lobotomies were largely abandoned. But for decades, it was considered legitimate treatment, a treatment that permanently changed thousands of lives. 4. The town destroyed by poisoned alcohol. During the early 20th century, the United States entered a period known as Prohibition. Alcohol was banned nationwide. But people didn't stop drinking. Instead, many turned to illegal alcohol sold on the black market. The problem was that much of this alcohol wasn't safe. In some cases, industrial alcohol was chemically altered to make it drinkable. But sometimes the process went terribly wrong. In 1926, one contaminated batch caused a deadly outbreak in New York City. Hundreds of people were poisoned, some went blind, others died within days. Historians estimate that thousands of deaths during Prohibition were caused by toxic alcohol. The attempt to eliminate alcohol had unintentionally created a far more dangerous situation. 5. The experiment that left people in total isolation. In the 1950s, scientists began studying how humans react to extreme isolation. Volunteers were placed in rooms with almost no sensory input, no sound, no light, no sense of time. At first, participants thought the experiment would be easy, but after just a few hours, many reported strange experiences. Some began hallucinating. Others felt intense anxiety or panic. One participant said their mind started creating vivid images just to fill the silence. The experiments revealed something unsettling. The human brain depends heavily on sensory stimulation. Without it, the mind begins to lose its stability. These findings later influenced research into psychological stress and interrogation techniques. But the experiments also showed just how fragile the human mind can be. History is full of stories that sound too strange or too disturbing to be real. People buried alive. A toxic fog that killed thousands. Medical procedures that permanently altered the brain. For years, many of these stories sounded like exaggerated legends, but evidence proved they actually happened. And they reveal something unsettling about the past. Sometimes the scariest stories aren't myths. They're simply forgotten pieces of history, and the truth behind them is far darker than fiction.